I might as well go ahead and get started because I thought what we would talk about today, in a global sense, I think it's really important for a business to have a mission statement and a vision statement. And I've been coaching one of our agents on this very thing, and I'm reminded of how difficult it can be for an individual to take a moment to retreat, spend time in their own world, and ask themselves really important focusing questions about what matters most to them.
But Steve, wait, I'm confused. You said it's really important for a business, so why does that apply to any of us?
Well, I think it's because if you don't know what you're targeting or what you're going after, how you see the world and how your job is the vehicle to manifest the things that you see and want for your life, then I don't know how you get there. I think all you do is operate within a ceiling of achievement. And depending upon your level of skill at any particular thing you're working on, that's all you're going to get. So you end up with a limited outcome.
But why businesses have to come up with a mission statement? Why should we?
Well, because we're a business. I mean,
we are a business, aren't we?
We don't sell a product, unlike many corporations that have, whether it's Tesla or Zappos sells shoes, right? Or I was going to use today as an example Patagonia, because I think they're probably one of the best examples of how a company can align with a vision and a mission, right? I mean, it gives me a perfect opportunity maybe to dovetail into that. But I think the most important reason, though, is that if you have a mission statement, you will be perceived as honest, because a mission statement is a tool. It's a tool that allows you to be transparent with other people. And if it's used effectively, it can build trust and loyalty with your customers, right? And so I think the more humble you are, if you're honest with yourself as you create a mission statement, and it's perceived to be honest by the person receiving it, then that's an instant inroad to establishing trust with a stranger.
Okay, so before we get out of our skis, what is a mission statement?
A mission statement is the most reduced yet very succinct collection of your vision for your life and what you see as a contribution to it and to other people. Because in a business, your vision statement has to be contributing in such a way, I believe, that is for the greater good of not only the people you serve, but maybe the world. It's very big.
I agree. I want to take it down to just one word and to justify what you just said.
Yeah.
Fancy, we call it our mission statement. In the phenomenal book by Simon Sinek, it's called Your Why.
Love him. Yeah. Yeah.
For anyone on our podcast today is this a podcast? What do we call this, by the way?
I don't know. It's something like that.
Okay.
I think when we put it on Apple, it'll be a podcast.
There we go. Don't ask me to do another techie thing. My head will explode. There's Simon Sinek wrote a book called Start With Why. If you haven't read it, you need to stop what you're doing and read that book.
I agree.
And when you just said your mission statement is about your contribution, it doesn't have to be, I suppose. Your mission statement could be all about you. But the whole purpose of having a mission statement of a why is because other people will align with it. And not all of them, right? The whole idea is, This is what matters to me. And This is why I do what I do. And then some people will raise their hands and say, I love that. I'm with you. I want that to happen too. How can I help you make that happen? Well, I happen to solve real estate problems. So if you have a real estate problem, you can come to me. That's how I go out and achieve my why. Other people won't relate to it at all, and that's okay.
Right.
We can't be the answer to everybody, because you end up being a nobody.
No, but don't you think, though, even if they might not relate to your mission, your honesty and transparency and your vulnerability to share that attracts people. So even though I may not agree with it, right, if at the very least it will allow a dialogue. Like if I'm honest with someone about what it is what I value and what I believe my contribution will be, even if they're not completely aligned, at the very least they'll start asking me questions. When I start having a conversation about, well, why do you feel that way? Why is that so important to you? Help me understand. It allows you to
Yes.
build a relationship.
And be respected. You'll be respected for it. Even if I don't relate to your why, your mission statement, I respect you for having one.
Amen. Yeah.
And we can have the conversation. But again, the point for us as business owners is I want people who I like, who I enjoy working with, to want to work with me. And that'll be more business than I could ever handle anyway. And you do that by understanding what your why is and by being able to share it.
I think a lot of people know the story real quickly, because it's so interesting to me. When we moved into Cardiff as Compass, Cardiff is this, very few people outside of Cardiff probably even know where Cardiff is. It's a sleepy little surf town that has a Patagonia shop in it. Mm-hmm. So let me just take literally a minute, only a minute, to share with you the Patagonia story, because the founder of Patagonia was a mountain climber. And he was very passionate about the outdoors, continues to be passionate about the outdoors. And every time he climbed a mountain, he realized he was defacing it. And because of the way they would climb, they're having to drill into the rock. And if everyone's not on the same trail, someone else is drilling into the rock. And over time, this is not a healthy thing for the environment, particularly if you care for it. So he decided to build equipment that would be best suited for this activity, and all along have the idea of what's best for the rock, what's best for the outdoors, what's best for the environment. And as he did that, other entrepreneurs or other rock climbers, people who were aligned with him, started buying his product, and off he goes. Now, but that wasn't the most important thing that Patagonia did. What Patagonia did is that he created, and I'm reading here, but it's called the 1% for the Planet organization. And so what he did is he went out and got with other like-minded people. Didn't have to be an organization that was building outdoor equipment or outdoor lifestyle or anything outdoors. It was just an organization that could care or have concern for the environment. And today, that 1% for the planet has contributed billions of dollars to the education and awareness of the outdoor or the environment. And Patagonia's mission statement, so those of us on this call, maybe we own something Patagonia, or we know what Patagonia is about, the brand itself. But here's their mission statement: to build the best product, cause no unnecessary harm, use business to inspire and implement solutions to the environmental crisis. Now, if you stop and think about Patagonia, you think about them differently, right? I mean, what they're doing aligns with that very thing. Tesla created car batteries. They designed the car battery and shared the blueprint with everyone in the hopes that any car manufacturer would take that blueprint and begin to build EV vehicles.
So if I'm hearing you right, what's amazing is I don't have to be a rock climber. I could just be someone who cares about the environment.
That's right.
And I'll go buy Patagonia for that purpose.
Right.
Because I support their why.
Yeah. I think that when we think about mission statements and vision statements, too many people think that you have to go down some path of perfection. That's what I would think. Like somehow I have to try to assemble this statement that's perfect. And it's not about that at all. It's not about that at all. It's not about being perfect. It's really about you just connecting with what is it that I value, and what do I feel my contribution to this business is, and how does it benefit the people I serve? If you just stop and think about answering those questions, you can very quickly get the foundation of a mission statement for your business.
So I'm gonna tie this to something and then bring up a question. Even if it's, maybe we're not about the environment, or maybe your vision is very about you and your family, right? It doesn't have to be a global save something. People wonder why the why is so important. Right? Why do I have to have this? This is a really, really difficult business. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but sales in general, and real estate sales especially, it's simple to understand. It is not easy to do. The reason that we develop a mission statement is to remind ourselves every single day why we're doing it, what matters to us. When that 8th person in a row tells you, don't ever call me again. When the agent from the other side says, yeah, my buyers are walking, never mind. When the appraisal comes in low, when the 100 things that can happen, and you say, what am I going to do with this? You need to be able to look up and see your mission statement on the wall and say, oh yeah, that's right. That's why I got out of bed today and did this again, because this matters to me.
Right.
Now, here's the question, Steve, and I think this is, I know for a number of people on this call and a number of people I know in life, this is easy to talk about. It's hard to come up with your why. It's hard to develop a mission statement for a lot of people. So how do we, if we understand the importance of it, how do we help people actually develop it so that they can achieve their goals?
Well, I think that it's not easy. It isn't. It takes some self-reflection, and it takes you being honest. But what it does do, when you know what your vision is and what your mission is, as it relates to your business, let's say, or your personal life, you can then dovetail a business plan so that throughout the day, you're able to figure out what matters most, and you can eliminate distractions, right? I mean, that's really what, to me, the synergistic relationship between a business plan and your vision. If you have a vision for your business and you're on a mission to accomplish that thing, then how are you going to get there without a dashboard, without some tool that helps you focus on what's important right now? And to me, how you get there is, when I worked on my mission statement, I just briefly say that I was fortunate enough to be asked questions in such a way that allowed me to very quickly identify what mattered most to me. I told my story several weeks back, and I incorporated, there are a lot of stories in my life, but I found out that after an interview of what's important to me, why is something so important to you such that if you accomplished it, everything you were doing wouldn't seem as important, would just fall into place. That clarity allowed me to wake up every day and be intentional with my life. And to me, that's the importance of taking a moment to reflect. Now, a mission statement's autobiographical. I can't create yours for you, Sean, and you can't create mine for me. It really does take a minute, and it's not that hard, as complicated as it may seem, because it's hard to just cut yourself open. We don't do it enough. When was the last time someone sat down with you ever and said, what's important to you in your life? We've lived our lives most of the time being directed to do certain things. Our parents direct us because they see what's best for us. So they have a path for us that they want us to follow, to be honest, to be ethical, to not get involved with drugs. They do all these things that guide us and steer us. But at the end of about 14 years of age, when you start doing some thinking for yourself, nobody's really asking you these important questions. What's important to you and why? And what would having that do for you mean for your life? Or what would having that do, if you accomplish that, how would that make you feel? So to ask yourself those simple questions really gets you on that path. And having a coach, or having a mentor, could be someone that knows you best, can really help you here. Because
challenge you.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Or challenge you. I want to comment on that, but Melanie put up a fantastic message about Compass, to see the agents building the culture of Compass because they were aligned with the mission of the company.
Right.
And here's the important part. In turn, they wanted to protect it by acting professionally and collaboratively and referring like-minded agents. That's what the entrepreneurial principles that guide us come from people saying, this matters to me. If it didn't matter, they wouldn't join Compass. Nobody comes to Compass because we have a 0% split, right? Or, there's companies out there that buy agents. That's fine. Compass says, no, this is what matters to us. And agents say, I like that. That matters to me too. And then you actually want to protect the thing that you've built. It would be the same way in life. It's the same way as a personal business owner. Once I know why I want to do something, the natural next step is to protect it. At all costs, I'm going to make sure I don't go out of alignment with why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's just becoming a formidable life.
Building a company like Compass as a startup, all that goes with that is very difficult. It's difficult from the moment you have to figure out where you're going to put your offices to the agents you want to bring into your world. The complexity of such an endeavor is really, really something that until you've been a part of something like that, either as an agent, as a manager, or as someone in a C-suite, whoever you are in your contribution, you know that anyone who's on this call knows all of the great things that we do well and the things where we could get better. But I've never been with a company that doesn't seek those answers or constantly looking for those answers. I would encourage anyone who's never seen Robert Refkin give his vision speech about how he came to the mission statement for Compass. If you've never seen that video, I would just ask you, in the time that you have this morning, when you leave here, go to YouTube and just search for Robert Refkin's vision statement. And he talks about, if any of us have heard him speak, he talks about how he's never felt like he belonged. He lived a life as an African-American kid, born in a biracial family, African-American father who was never present in his life, a Jewish mother. I mean, he tells a story that when I heard it, and I'm being honest here, I actually cried. I cried when he was speaking. I don't know how he could deliver that speech and not cry himself. So the strength and fortitude of that man is really something amazing. But what it did for me, Sean, when I watched that, and Melanie Fontana will tell you, because I told her this, and if she can come on screen if she liked, but I told Melanie I couldn't stop watching that. I personally watched that video no less than 15 times, and I am not exaggerating. And my wife would see me in the background, like she'd be in the kitchen cooking. She'd go, "Why you're watching that again?" Like, what? And and for me, at that point in helping build this company, I wanted to be a Robert Jr. I wanted to be able to tell his story so that when people said, "Why did you go to Compass? What makes Compass so special?" I wanted to be Robert Refkin in the moment and feel the pain that man went through and what his vision was for the company so that we could truly help everyone find their place in the world. So I wanted to live his mission. I wanted to live his vision. And that's what I mean. His honesty reeled me in. And I think if you can do that for your business, you will reel people in and they will want to be a part of you.
You just, for everyone listening, that's the proof in the pudding. His why was so strong that, Steve, you're here.
Yep.
That you want to be a part of it.
Yep.
Viscerally, from your heart, you want to be a part of it. Imagine having clients who feel that way about you. That's the power of having a mission statement.
That's it.
Now, let's go back to the difficult part, because I'm going to give you a couple, I want to share a couple ways. I know a lot of people say, I get it. I wish I had one. I don't know what my why is.
Yeah,
I would venture to say more than half people don't have it. Not for lack of desire, they just don't know how, right? Some of us are blessed to know.
Yeah.
So here's the first thing I'm going to suggest. And I'm blessed enough, I get to do this all day long. I coach people. Go get a coach or a mentor, or sit down with Steve or Melanie or any of the sales managers. If you sit down with someone like that, I just got off a call right before we started this with a client, and that was the entire discussion. She doesn't have a dream board. She's not achieving her goals. And I asked her why she got up this morning. I said, I could see you're wearing makeup. Why'd you put makeup on? Well, I don't know. I started my day. Did you? Or did you go on autopilot? Most people live on autopilot.
Yeah.
As if this is a dress rehearsal. This is a practice of some kind. This is the preseason. It's not. This is it. Every single day you get up, you're in the middle of the game. The only game you're ever going to play. This is the only life this is it right now. Why not choose to make it spectacular? So sit down with someone who thinks that way, who feels that way, and they'll ask you challenging questions. And they'll help you develop your why, because it'll come out. If you talk to Steve, you're going to find out in short order what his why is. Even if he didn't know it, it's in there.
Yeah.
Find someone, go to a sales manager, go to a coach, go to a mentor, someone you respect who's not afraid to challenge you, to be honest with you, and have them drag it out of you. Because, oh my God, once you have it, it changes everything.
You know, I think without a vision mission, imagine if you started every relationship with a client that you're just meeting for the first time. And of course, you'll have small talk. The real world is, hey, I was referred to you by Julie Wynn, Sean, and Julie says you're fantastic, and blah, 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 blah. And all those niceties go on. And then there's going to come a moment where the rubber meets the road and you have to talk business. If you could start every business relationship sharing, this is what I do, why I do it, and the value I believe I'm creating for people. In essence, that is the mission vision statement, right? That's what that does. Without that, then you have to start a conversation, I believe, that is strictly about your agenda. You start talking at people. Now, some people do it better than others, and they can try to pull people in, and they know how to sell, and they ask the right questions, and they can effectively consult and all that. But if you want to build a relationship that's just, see, I think honesty and vulnerability just pulls people in. And I can't state it enough that when Robert told his story, the vulnerability to share a story like that personal in such a way with thousands of people in an auditorium, took great courage, pulled me in. And you can have the same effect when you connect with people and you start a business relationship based on, this is what I'm doing, this is how I believe I'm benefiting the business, and in such, this is the benefit to you. So
I would go further, though. I think the courage is in coming up with it. Once you know it, it doesn't take a lot of courage to share it because it becomes your core. It is what motivates you every day. The courage is in slowing down and discovering your true passion, your true reason for being here.
You just nailed that. You just nailed it too, Sean, because if you have it and you have a plan, then you can't wait to get out and execute that plan. Right. So that's part of it. That's the fuel that gets you on the path of productivity. Yeah.
It's also, if you look, and all of us know people like this. I'm 100% sure that every single person on this call knows a real estate agent who's successful and unhappy.
Yeah.
That person doesn't have a why. It's what you just said, Steve. You can get up. We can learn scripts, and you can get on the phone for 2 hours a day, and you can crank. And in this business, if you're a grinder, if you crank it out every single day, you will be financially successful, and odds are unhappy. Unless there's a reason behind it, unless there's something that you're achieving that's very personal, that's very you. And that's why I feel like we're being a bit esoteric here. The reason that we want to talk about this today, the reason I wanted to bring it up anyway, is because you deserve to live lives of personal greatness. You do that by having a why. You do that by having a purpose. You don't do that by being $1 million a year GCI. That's the effect. That's the outcome of having a why. It's not the reason.
Yeah. By the way, I've never met a client that ever cared about that.
No, of course not.
They want you to be successful for sure, but they sure as heck don't care. This is, people relate to people. People hire
you. You're selling you.
They don't hire your results. That's a part of it, no question about it. But you can have great results, but if someone doesn't trust you and or like you, and you're the swinging bat in town, I got news for you. They ain't hiring you.
No. Well, and so one of the things that when I used to work with, I almost said this the wrong way. When I worked with newer agents, Compass doesn't have new agents, which is kind of a blessing. But, I love working with agents no matter what. There's a doubt, right? They don't have a belief yet, and they're not doing the huge business. And I would always give them this thing to remember. If we went on a listing appointment, you and me, you new agent and me, 30 years in the business, I got hundreds of scripts in my head. I've been doing this a long time. And we went on a cold listing appointment. Who do you think is going to get the listing? And if they hesitated, I'd look them in the eyes and say, it's going to be me. I guarantee it. Now, let's go on the same listing appointment, but it's your sister. And I got my 30 plus years and I got all my scripts in my head. Who's going to get that listing? It's going to be you. Because people don't give a crap about how successful I am or all the scripts in my head. They care about the level of conviction, about the level of commitment that you bring. Exactly. And they trust you over me because you're their sister. That's what people relate to. That's your why. Here's why I do what I do. Here's what I believe. Here's why it matters to me. And the ones who get it will go with you. The ones who don't, that's okay. You don't need 100% of the business. You need 1% of the business is more than enough for most of us. But you have to have that. And then you never work again a day in your life, because you have all these clients who you love, who love you, who you're working on a personal level. It's like every single transaction is a family member, and it matters, and you're happy to do it. That's the power of having a why.
80% of the world works within their natural core competencies, and if you're blessed to be gifted with the gift of gab and you have a trustworthy nature, you're going to do well in real estate. If you never do anything we're talking about here, you'll do okay. The thing is, what's possible for you? What's your authentic self? And your authentic self is, if you can connect with your higher purpose, then you could have an unlimited outcome in the business, and in life, and you'll achieve something special. And again, I feel very passionately about it. I do. I think businesses that have business plans and have vision statements succeed more often than those that don't. And Robert Refkin, by the way, in that video, I'm asking all of you, please go watch if you haven't seen it. He actually starts that conference apologizing for not being clear on Compass's vision and mission. And he did. I mean, he said, I'm really sorry. I don't think anyone knows what our mission is here, but they will today. And he went on to tell his story and unveil that the mission for Compass is to help everyone find their place in the world.
And you just nailed something else, I think, that's really important. The great thing about this business is it funds your life of your vision. This business is a phenomenal business because it can fund you living whatever your ideal life is.
Yep.
Not many people in the world have the guts to go out on their own and fund their own life. And this business allows you to do that. It's an amazing, wonderful journey. You just have to know where you're going. You have to know why you're doing it.
Exactly.
Before we forget, because we're going to run out of time already, I can't believe how fast these go.
Yeah.
I wanted to share a second, almost a cheat, because again, I'm aware of how many people aren't sure of their why. Go ask your 5 best friends.
Yeah, there you go.
It's amazing how well our friends know us, better than us. Go ask your 5 best friends, hey, what do you think is my purpose? Why am I here? What do I care about? 4 out of the 5 will tell you. And you might be surprised by the answer. But they know what you're doing and what's important to you. And then you can begin to adopt it and make it, as Steve said, start making it into a concise statement that you can live for every single day. And the world changes.
Yeah. Well, if you ask someone like, putting your humility aside and putting my vulnerability aside, what's the one quality that you value about me? Just ask your friends, what's the one quality? I can ask Sean. Well, Sean, we'll role play it right here. Sean, what's the one quality, if any, that you appreciate about me?
Absolute honesty. Steve is absolutely raw, honest. You are you. When I'm talking to you, I'm not getting your idea of what I want or your idea of what you should be. I always get you. Yeah. Whether I like it or not, whether anybody likes it or not, you are raw and honest. That's what I would say to you if you asked me.
Yeah. And I think the thing I appreciate most in you in the time we've spent together, which is really, anyone who's known Sean will probably know this. If you don't, when you see him coach, he's a guy that tells it just like it is. But he's one of the most empathetic people I've met. And I think that's in large part why he's been so successful as a real estate professional. Because one of the first qualities when I would share my personal challenges, when we prepare for these meetings, and I may not be clear about something, or he may not understand where I'm coming from, he always approaches me from empathy. Like I've never, ever been made to feel foolish around him. I can't tell you what a great quality that is that he has. So I'm telling you, this is really helpful because, if you can take that honesty without becoming verklempt over it, because it's tough to hear. I've struggled, Sean, with positivity, like hearing positive things said about me. It makes me uncomfortable. I've always felt that. It's really weird. Don't know why. I think that maybe I do, but I don't know why, but I've never been comfortable with that. And I'm telling you, if you're like me, you just think, well, this is goofy, you can save yourself a lot of time and a lot of brain damage and a lot of brain power trying to figure it out for yourself if you'll just put your vulnerability and humility aside and just take positive feedback. Don't ask people what you don't do well. What's one quality about me that you appreciate? And it will be the building block, don't you think?
I agree 100%. And I think that's a great way to wrap this up. If you're not sure of your why, go ask 5 friends and listen. Don't judge. Don't filter. Just listen to them. By the way, there was a question in the comments about the video that you're talking about, and Melanie put up the link.
Awesome.
So anybody who hasn't seen this video that Steve's talking about, go in there now and click on that link. Your day will be different today. I guarantee it.
Well, I promise you this too, Sean, that you'll understand where helping everyone find their place in the world. Like, you'll hear that differently after you watch that video, when you understand what Robert's been through and how out of place he's felt and why this is so important to him.
It's amazing.
We think of it, by the way, as we wrap up, we think of it as, from a compass selfish standpoint, it's about helping people find a house, like find the place in the world, like a GPS location. Mm-hmm. That's not what it's about. And you'll figure that out when you watch that video.
All right. Respective time, we're over. I'm going to stay. Steve, usually you'll stay if anybody has questions or wants to jump in, but otherwise, officially, we're done with our huddle meeting this morning. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for the positive
Love
feedback.
having all of you here.
Yeah.